Hi, I was wondering, what do I say to people who tell me that socialism has in fact worked in Scandinavian countries? And also, will you be hosting PewDiePie's meme review?
No spoiler alert on PewDiePie's meme review. I'm not going to spoil anything.
Okay.
As far as I know nobody about the age of 23 knows what. For those who don't know, PewDiePie is the single most followed YouTuber on planet Earth. He has 68 million followers. You've never heard of him, right? That's the way that our culture works. He's very funny. In any case, I now forget the first question because I was too enwrapped in PewDiePie.
So, all right.
The Scandinavian countries.
Yes.
Okay, so this has come up recently because left has shifted its rhetoric. It used to be in the 80s and the 70s and the 60s, the Soviet Union was the wave of the future. Then it was Cuban healthcare was really awesome. Then it was Venezuela is really trying something new and fascinating. And now it is Norway and Scandinavia. So the first thing to recognize is that the Norwegian country, that Norway, Sweden, Switzerland, that all of these countries that are purportedly socialist don't consider themselves socialist. And they all operate according to capitalist free market principles. This is true for the growth in their economy. Socialism basically freezes and redistributes your economy at a certain level. It does not build economies. There has never been a socialist state ever that has run as a socialist state in terms of means of production of ownership and getting rid of profit incentive that has ever succeeded in anything. Right? You cannot have a state. Even countries like China that have economically grown are running off of what they call state-run capitalism, which is to say mercantilism. Right? They sponsor certain groups of people, and then they pour lots of money into those groups, and then they operate those groups according to free market principles when it comes to trading relationships with other countries. This is true in Norway. It's true in Sweden. It is also true that Norway and Sweden were awesome countries before the advent of their social welfare policies. So these were very highly ranked countries in terms of income, in terms of health outcome. These were very highly ranked countries in terms of education and social cohesion in the 1940s and 50s, long before there was an attempt at what they call third way socialism in Sweden and the growth of a massive welfare state on top of Norway. Norway is being propped up in certain cases. Look, first of all, let's recognize something. The tax rates in Norway and Sweden are exorbitant. And if you're talking about the tax rate in Norway, it's above 50% for people making above 60 grand a year. It's extraordinarily high. The United States actually has a much more progressive tax system than Norway or Sweden. In order to pay for this massive social structure, you actually do have to pay for it. Norway also happens to have an enormous slush fund that is funded by its gas production in the North Sea. North Sea, yes. So this is a couple of distinguishing factors. Also, the population of Norway is half the population of Los Angeles County. So it's a lot easier to run a quote-unquote model socialist state on a kibbutz than it would be in Israel as a whole, as Israel found out. So there are a bunch of distinctions that are made. This is why folks on the left are trying to suggest that when they say socialism, what they really mean is democratic socialism.
Right.
Or social democracy is really what they mean now. And fair enough, so far as it goes. And then we have to ask questions as to whether the welfare programs are efficacious, whether they kill work incentive, whether the redistribution of healthcare is actually providing the best available outcomes, or whether it's actually cracking down on medical innovation and the possibility of getting healthcare when you need it, as opposed to waiting in line for a hip surgery for 8 months. And these are all questions that we can talk about, but to pretend that Norway and Sweden are actually models of socialism, meaning communal ownership of the means of production and destruction of profit motives, they lie. None of those countries are based on those fundamental principles.
Okay, thank you.